Hello, my name is Joshua Mugabe. I welcome you to strawberry and apple fruit formation. We shall start with the strawberry. In these two plants, that is the strawberry and the apple, the part of the fruit we choose to eat is not formed from the ovary, but from the receptacle. So for the apple, strawberries, and we can even add on the pineapples, all those fruits, the fruits that we eat is not formed from the ovary, but it is formed from the receptacle, as we are going to see. First of all, let us look at our flower. This is the flower of the strawberry. What does it have? We have the ovary. The ovary is this part that you are seeing here. This one, this one, this one, all those are the ovary. These ones that you see here, these are the ovaries. Those are the ovaries there. That one is an ovary. So those ones are the ovaries. Then we have the anthers. The anthers are these ones that we are seeing on the sides. They have the filaments attached to the petals of the flower. These are our anthers. You can see them. That is an anther here. We have others this side. Those are anther heads. All those ones. But they are attached on the filament, which you see moving down. That is a filament. This one here is a filament. It goes and attaches itself on the petal. So those are the anthers, or what we can call the stamen. Then we have the petals. All this one that you are seeing, that one is a petal. We have this one is a petal. We have also this one is a petal. And here the petal can show us that it has been cut through. When you see this double line, the double line is an indicator that we have cut through the flower. So here we are having the sepal. The sepal here, you can also see that it has been cut through. So we have half of the flower. So we have all those ones are the petals. And then we also have the stigma. The stigma comes from the ovary. The stigma and the style. This one that we see coming from the ovary going upwards, those are the style and then the stigma. You can see that from the ovary we have something coming from the ovary, that is the style, going up, and it ends in a swelling on top, that is the stigma. So all the ovaries, they have the style and the stigma attached. Then we have the sepals. The sepals are those ones that you can see they have been cut through. This one is a sepal down, and you can see it is joined to this other sepal here. Then this side we also have a sepal. This one is a sepal. Then the other side we also have, this one is also a sepal. Here also we have in between here the petals. Here you have the sepal, which are outside the other side. So that is the flower of our strawberry. They are sometimes called false fruits, although the mature ovaries are still present. Now here we are talking about the fruit that is going to be formed by the flower. We have said that the fruit that we choose to eat is not formed from the ovary, but the receptacle. And where is our receptacle? Our receptacle is this middle part here. This middle part, that where you see the ovaries attached, is what we call the receptacle. And it is the one that is going to form our fruits. And when you see a fruit, that fruit is going to be called a false fruit. Why is it called a false fruit? Because it is not coming from the ovaries, but it is coming from the receptacle. That's why it is called a false fruit. Even if we have, when the fruit is formed, we still have the mature ovaries are still existing on the fruit, still the fruit is mainly coming from the receptacle. Now here in the strawberry, the true fruit are the pips, which are eaten with the whole fruit. Now here we have our strawberry fruit. This is our strawberry fruit. The whole of this one is a fruit. Here we can see the fruit here, which is this one, with still the mature ovaries still present. But when we cut through the cross-section of the fruit, this is what we are going to see. Inside, all of it is covered with the receptacle. Much of this one inside is the receptacle. So the whole of this middle part is a receptacle. And it is the one which is making up the major part of the fruit. It is forming a receptacle. Now we have our ovaries. They are still here existing on the side. Our ovaries are still existing. You can see them on the side. But now this one is our strawberry. But the true fruit that we eat are these ones that we call the ovaries. They are the ones that we call the pimp. They are the ones that are the true fruit. But the other fruit which is remaining is what we are calling the false fruit. So this one inside, which is made up of the receptacle, is the one that we are calling the false fruit. The true fruit is that one which is made up of the ovaries. Now we go to the apple half flower. Let's look at our apple half flower. This is the flower of the apple plant. And we can see that it has got a receptacle. Now I want us to be very clear here when we are looking at this flower. You can see that from down here, this is our receptacle. All of this one is our receptacle. But I want you to see where the ovary is. The ovary is this part here. And when you look at the ovary, inside the ovary, they are ovules. These ones that we see inside the ovary, those are ovules. But when you look at the ovary, you are seeing that the ovary is embedded in the receptacle. It is inside the receptacle. Now, we have above the receptacle, we have the sepals. These are sepals. They are above the ovary. The ovary is in the receptacle. If you look at it here, the ovary is sitting in the receptacle, and above the receptacle now we have the sepals. Then we have the style. The style and the stigma. Remember, the styles are coming from the ovary. But if you see them, they are above, for them they are above the receptacle. But the ovary is embedded in the receptacle. These are now our style, and on top we have the stigma. On top of the style we have the stigma. Now we have the petals. You can see our petals are these ones that are coming out. Those are our petals. We have the other petals this side. All those ones we call them the petals. For them, even if when you look at them, you will see that they are on top of the receptacle. They are above the receptacle. They are inside the sepals. Now, on the petals, attached on the petals, you are going to see the stamen. These ones are the stamen. They are made up of the filament and the anthers. Here we have the stamen, we have the filament attached to the petal. You can see that the filaments are attached to the petal. These filaments that make up the stamen, they are attached onto the petal. Now when it comes on top of the filament, you are going to see now the anther head, which are bilobed. They are cut into two. We see the anther heads attached on top of the style. Those are our anther heads. Now, this is our flower of the apple. So it is made up of those different parts. Note that the ovary is entirely enclosed within the receptacle. The ovary is entirely enclosed within the receptacle. It is completely within the receptacle. If you look at our ovary, it is embedded in the receptacle. Now we look at the apple itself. Here we have cut it longitudinally. We have cut it longitudinally. So we have a longitudinal section of the apple fruit. This is our apple fruit, which has been already formed. Now let us see the different parts. Now on the other side, we said that the ovary was embedded in the receptacle. Now here, part of the fruit, the major part of the fruit is going to be made up of the receptacle. Now, this one is our receptacle here. The whole of this one that we are seeing is the receptacle. Where the ovary was embedded, oh, that one is the receptacle. Now, the ovary is the fruit wall inside, that inside part of the apple, which is covering the seeds, which are the ovule. These are the seeds. Those are the seeds. Now, when you move from the seed, there is that small layer which is covering the inside part. That smaller layer covering the inside part is the one that we are referring to as the ovary. That smaller layer covering the inside part. This layer here. Which layer? This layer here. Small inside layer, which is covering the seeds. That small inside layer is the ovary. Then the outer layer, the outer flesh, the whole of this one here. This is our now receptacle. So you can see that the big part of the fruit is coming from the receptacle. Very little part of the fruit that is made out of the ovary. So the ovary is inside the receptacle. So the apple fruit is mainly a receptacle. And on top here, we have the remains of the sepals, the petals, and the stamens. Because remember, on the receptor is where we had our sepals attached. It's where we had our petals attached, and it is where we had our anther and the stamens are touched. So all those ones, they break away. All of them, they break away, and we remain with a scar, which shows that here, long time, there were sepals, petals, and stamen. Most of the edible part is formed from the receptacle. That one we have seen that most of this part here is formed from the receptacle, and it is the most eaten part compared to any other part. The apple, the true fruit, is usually discarded as part of the core. So when you are eating the apple, this part here, which is the ovary, which came from the ovary, which is forming the true fruit, you always don't eat it. You end up throwing it away. And that one is the true fruit. Now the false fruit is this part which is made up of the receptacle. That is the true fruit, the false fruit. Hello, thank you very much for participating in strawberry and the apple fruit formation. Please do like, share, and subscribe.